Hey guys, I'm gonna show you a little bit about the DATTO backend MSP portal. So portal.dattobackup.com. Under the status page over here, we go to the BCDR, and over here we have a few ways to view this, but the easiest way to look at it is just on this default page. So if we want to look, for example, at this client, we can do one of the two things. We can either click on their name over here. We can open the device itself as if we're logged in locally to the device using IP address locally on the network of the client. And the three dots over here give us the option to hide it or recovery launchpad. We're not going to recover anything from here mostly. So let's look at the settings we have over here. So when you click on the client itself, a new tab comes up over here. This is a one big page that's going to be scrolling for us. And we have a few things over here. The first one is the local IP of the client and what WAN IP address they come from. The username is backup admin and the password is this. This is showing up over here because at this point, DATTO still allows us to connect remotely, to connect to the device itself from the LAN. Soon enough, they're not going to allow to do that, so this means really nothing in the near future. Last check-in, what is the uptime and any hardware issues, etc. If there's any open tickets, this is where we see them, and we can create a ticket from here. We will use that, so I'm going to show you real quick type of issues. Let's say there's a offsite replication issue. You can carbon copy somebody else. Automatically, your email address that you logged in with will be getting the communication from DATTO. But if you want to add somebody else, please always add info@legaltechnology.solutions. Subject line description priority. High is they're not allowing us to play with that as much as we want. So anything that is above normal really needs to have a reason for that. Serial number of the device over here, your phone number, and if you have an extension. They're very good with their support, and most likely you're going to get replies pretty much right away via email at least. If it's an urgent issue, they will give you the phone number to call if it's a recovery-related problem. Billing, we are seeing over here when the contract ends. This client, for example, finished their 1-year contract. Every every DATTO device that we sell usually comes with 1, 2, or 3 years contract. The warranty has 2 years on top of the first year, so 3 years total. And we have this offsite backup size. There's a couple of things to know about that. We'll talk about that in a moment. With the offsite, we can audit the offsite information over here. It's going to tell us how much data we have, what type of how many points of recovery we have, etc. I'm going to go back here. And if you want to add any internal notes, that's what we do it. The agent itself, unprotected volumes. A lot of times we have an external drive, so you're going to see one unprotected volume over here because we don't need to back up the external drive to DATTO, most likely. So that is not a bad number necessarily. And mouse over here will tell us some information if there's any errors, what date it was, etc. Clicking here on the little arrow, we can see the last screenshot. And we don't use the notes over here, but operating system, agent version. Several times in the past when the backups failed, it was because the agent version was too old. We had to get that fixed. So back here on the recovery launchpad, if you do need to recover something, it opens another tab. You can restore a file. Go away. Restore a file, virtualize on the cloud, on the DATTO cloud. We can virtualize a virtual machine off of the backup that we have, or we can export the image to a VHD, VHDX, etc. And that allows us to then download it or ask them to courier that or ship it over to us overnight, etc. So very simple platform for recovery here. And again, this is data that's backing up to a device that they provide in-house, the client's office, plus an offsite replication. The offsite audit takes some time. They're basically going through their servers and looking at all our backups. Back here, let's close out of these actually, and we're going to go back here. That was the status of the backup and disaster recovery. We are not using really any of these other items over here besides device audits every once in a while and networking status. Networking status is, sorry, I'm lying. From here, if we go and click on a device itself, the networking information is what I meant over here, the local IP address. Sometimes IP address changed, IP address of the device itself changed, and this is usually the main thing that we have to fix. If the server had an issue with a new, not issue, but if the server got a new IP address, the device that we're backing up has a new IP address, what we're going to need to do is not open it from here, but actually click on the device web. And you can see over here it's routing right now, and it's connecting to the actual physical data box in the client's location. And we're now going to connect as if we're locally right now on the device itself. And now we can see the device IP address and all other information. This is pretty worrisome. I'm not sure why this is a 100 megabits per second. They might be connected to an old switch. That's something to actually look at. But here, the agent that we're looking at, we can click on that. But before we do that, I want to show you the new menu up here. So under the Protect, this is the main backup window. We have the recovery points we can manage from here. We can start a backup manually right now. And configure agent settings is where we want to go to change all these settings. How often to back up, the retention for the cloud, local retention policy. And what you need to know is with DATTO, I'll show you here real quick. If we go to purchasing and billing and we go to the product and billing and pricing info, when DATTO sells their equipment, we look at a few things, and we have the DATTO Alto device, which is like the small business stuff that is a very basic box. And then there's the Series device that gives us a lot more flexibility. It's more expensive, but it allows us to virtualize client servers. This is like a 2U server that they send over with tons of storage, and it allows you to basically virtualize a machine on that device versus the Alto. The Alto is kind of like a little NAS, and it is allowing us to just back up to that Alto device locally, and that device sends the backup up to the cloud. So it looks just like this, and you can connect a monitor to it and dig in if you need locally, but it's a very basic device. As you can see, it doesn't have any power to it to virtualize anything on it. Now, as far as the pricing, where do they have that? There you go, United States pricing. I want to show you real quick the Alto 3, which is what is currently being rolled out. The Alto 3 device comes with a capacity of 2 terabytes for local, and the cost is $0 if you sign a year agreement. Otherwise, it's about $500 or something like that. And you can put up to 4 agents on it, assuming that you pay for each agent. And this is the price. 1 agent is this, 2 agents, 3 agents, whatever. And that's the price for the online backup. That's the price to back up locally. And if you want to back up locally and have an infinite cloud retention on top of that, it's $99. Now, you can still do the time-based retention on the cloud for $79, or Sorry, and that is listed down here. So it allows you only to save up to, I think, 6 weeks or so. So this price will give us time-based limitation or retention on the cloud. This is infinite, so it's just a little bit more expensive. And when we sell that to the client, we don't want to put a client with more than, let's say, um, 700 gigabytes of total data that we need to back up to here, because we want to have at least double than that for snapshots and revisions, etc. And then we don't want to also get full, because if the client is going to get an extra 30% storage usage, then the whole 2 terabyte is going to be most likely eaten up very fast. So let's say 700 gigabytes is the most we want to put on an Alto device, and then sell the client the time-based retention, or for a little bit more, the infinite cloud retention. Keep in mind that these are our prices. All the information is here. You can go back to this anytime. So that was the pricing for the Alto. And just to show you real quick, if we look at prices for Series, Series 4, it's a whole different ball game. So if you need the same 2 terabyte local storage, the cost is this. Unless you sign up with 5-year contract, you get a 30% discount. You still have to pay $1,000 for the Series device, for the business one. And then on top of that, there is the monthly. So this was a one-time, and this is the monthly. And this is backing up with capacity based. So if you pay $299 a month, if we pay $299, it's going to give us 1 terabyte of cloud storage that will be the only thing we keep there. But if you want to have 1 year of unlimited storage, but 1 year retention, our cost is $320, and infinite cloud retention, our cloud is $359. So we have to obviously make some money off of that. So client that has 6 terabytes, for example, will have to spend that much money, or this if they want to sign a contract, but also $715 plus our markup on that every month. So these are the pricing structures for DATTO over here. And on the Academy over here, you'll find a lot of good information. I highly recommend that you look into that. While it's loading, let's go back here, go back to the backups. And remember, we looked at one of the devices and we clicked on the device web, which opened this thing here. And this is a lot of configurations we can do over here. But one of the things that we need to know over here is the IP address. And I forgot what that is. Sorry. Local, no. We'll get to that in a second. File share. We have the option to have file share with DATTO. It's basically like creating our own little Dropbox or box server from their client's data. It's kind of like it's DATTO Drive, it's called. We don't use it right now. We're not going to worry about it. And synchronize, obviously, will allow us to set up the synchronization or look at the synchronization between the local device and the cloud, the offsite stuff. Restore, pretty self-explanatory. And there's gradual restore over here, and device migration if we need to migrate it to another reseller package we have, or to another IT provider if we lost the client, etc. But under the advanced over here, device status, we can see some other information like the device health, etc. We usually never come over here and check any of that stuff unless we need troubleshooting to be done. And other than that, very simple. Configure networking. Again, we're on the device itself. We're right now on that client device itself. This is the IP address of the DATTO device. As I mentioned, IP of the DNS we actually need to have outside as well. And if it's on a domain, in this case it's not, but if it would be, then we're going to rename it over here, join it to the domain. And the email alerts, this is where we sometimes get alerts from data we're not sure where they came from. And we can see some of those settings over here, what the warnings would look like. So we can add some stuff over here if we want to and customize the variables and play whatever we want to play with. Next, going back to the Protect tab over here, configure agent settings. I believe this is where we're going to find the IP address. Where is it? I know it's somewhere here. Let me pause real quick. Okay, it's actually in front of my eyes. It's under the rename agent over here. So if you click on that, it can give the new IP address or the new host name of the agent. Very not clear in my opinion, but that's where it is. And I think that's all we have to worry about at this point. Troubleshooting is very simple. We want to make sure that we're not getting too deep into troubleshooting, because usually what we do is just create a ticket with DATTO and we're good to go. Email notification, that's where we actually choose which emails we'll send. So if, for example, I want to add an email recipient and we're going to send it to Beits@cox.net, I can send a screenshot success. So every time we virtualize this machine on the cloud, which is what DATTO does, which is one of the settings over here, the verification. So screenshot verification over here, all offsite points and additional wait time, 3 minutes or whatever. And now, every time it's getting a screenshot verified, we will be able to see that screenshot via email on my account. Let's get rid of me here. I get enough emails. Okay, that's all for now with the basic DATTO. Have fun.